Hey guys, welcome to SmackDown Wrestling Reviews. I am your host Boise and this is SmackDown Live Review. So we have a continuation of the NXT, what I would call an invasion in some way. Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Aleister Black and Ricochet are all on SmackDown Live this week as well. There's also a huge 6-man tag team match and big announcements for Fastlane. So with all that said and done, let's get straight on with it. Let's hit the music. So we're going to start off the show with Shane O'Mac, which he made the big announcements that Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa and Ricochet will all be on SmackDown Live this week because they did such a fantastic job on Raw, which, you know what, I could not blame them for doing. They had such a great showing on Raw. I think this was a smart idea. Just keep getting the NXT brand with more viewership, and they're just showing how good NXT truly is by having these 4 competitors from NXT coming onto the main roster and showing what they can do. Brilliant. It was a basic intro kind of start. It's always the same really with Raw and SmackDown. They always have like an authority figure to come out, start the show. They kind of do that and then we lead on. Luckily enough, this segment was saved and actually got better, because I was just going to give it a basic 2 out of 5 stars if it was just going to be Shane O'Mac vomiting exactly what's been said on Raw the night before. But luckily enough, it was saved by probably the best speaker on the main roster himself, The Miz. Miz came out and cut an absolutely brilliant promo to Shane O'Mac, apologising for what had happened at Elimination Chamber, blaming himself all the time, tearing up and talking about his father and how that his father was so proud of him and said that, "I love you, son," and all this lot. And he says, "Shane, you're the only man who can, get us this rematch, and I believe that we can reclaim the SmackDown Tag Team titles." The Usos interrupted. They cut a fantastic heelish promo, yet the crowd was so behind the Usos, it's unbelievable. So even when the Usos are playing the bad guys in this role right now, between The Miz and Shane O'Mac, the fans aren't gonna. The fans are just literally going, "No, we like these guys. We're not gonna boo them," and they cheered for him for everything they said. Shane O'Mac got more and more frustrated, and he announced that at Fastlane, the Usos will defend their SmackDown Tag Team titles against The Miz and himself. Really smart start of the show. I think this was a really good way to save just a basic average kickoff to a show. The Miz was absolutely fantastic, and if this is the way they're going to build him, maybe we could see a heel turn after Fastlane, or maybe we could see The Miz completely turn face. He is right now, as we speak, face. So for me, I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5 star. Everyone in this segment did a fantastic job, and they really kept the momentum for the whole show going. Next up, we had Aleister Black versus Andrade Cien Almas. This was, for me, a fantastic way and a perfect opponent for Aleister Black's SmackDown debut. Brilliant, absolutely. If you want a highlight reel kind of match, this was it. It wasn't as good as their TakeOver New Orleans match, which they had last year, but my god, they really knocked it out of the park on just like a TV show match. It's pretty much like, this is what we can do. If you want to see a much better match, check it out on the network. That's all they should have said. Aleister Black and Andrade just have absolute chemistry every time they're in the ring. Andrade, I was a bit concerned when it was Andrade who was going to be his opponent. I was thinking, he hasn't been on TV for a while. His first opponent's Aleister Black, and it's most likely Aleister's going to win. Aleister did win, but Aleister and Andrade had such good chemistry, it didn't really matter who would win this match because they both showed off exactly the talent they are. Andrade didn't win. Yes, momentum has kind of slumped for him, but he came across looking absolutely fantastic. For me, Aleister Black needs to be called up to the main roster sooner rather than later. I don't know what they're going to do with this NXT teasing thing with them all being on the main roster shows, but if we're going to get Aleister Black on SmackDown, please let it happen, because he is just a pure talent. He's a main event star in the making. The crowd just go mental. The crowd went crazy when he came out straight away. So it just shows you exactly what it is. And Andrade Cien Almas, again, is another guy who should be pushing for the main event Raw anytime soon. I think 2019 will be a year where we see more and more of Andrade Cien Almas. I'm hoping we do see this. But like I said, the match was like a cliff note of what they were able to do last year at New Orleans. So I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. Brilliant opening match. Aleister Black looked great. Andrade looked great. Both guys looked amazing. Next up, we had Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa taking on The Bar. Again, a brilliant selection for first-time opponents on SmackDown Live. Because, let's be honest, this really was an interesting kind of concept they were going for. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa really are the heels on NXT, but they came across it as more babyface in this run, and it was an interesting concept. It started off with a backstage segment where you saw Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa cutting an interview. They were talking about how they're here to show the world what NXT can do. The Bar interrupted them and they said, "What is it? Bring your NXT superstar to work day? You can go anywhere you want, but you're not coming to SmackDown Live." That's legitimately what The Bar were hinting at. Gargano and Ciampa said wait and see, and the match was quite an interesting one. Again, just like the Aleister Black match, it was more of these NXT superstars working their way from being underneath the superstars, the main roster superstars they were taking on, and getting a big victory. Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, instead of like what they had against the Revival 24 hours ago, it was a much more struggle match because of Sheamus and Cesaro's bigger frames. They were a lot bigger compared to Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, where with the Revival they're very similar in size. So it was a disadvantage kind of, and they worked on that and they really did tell that story. Tommaso Ciampa looked like he crushed his leg when he tried to do a sunset flip from the top of the buckle, but it looked like he was alright. That's good news. It's kind of one of those worrying things when you see a superstar have another superstar crush their leg. It's kind of like, ooh, is Tommaso alright? But he came across alright. Tommaso Ciampa did get the pinfall. It was a great pinfall on Cesaro, getting them the victory. Cesaro and Sheamus looked absolutely beat. Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano looked knackered as well. It was a hard-hitting match, and it was nice to see that both Ciampa and Gargano could hang with two very dominant, very strong hitting opponents like Cesaro and Sheamus. Very much like I said, a really great pick for their opponents for SmackDown Live debut. So I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5 again. Really strong performances from the NXT call-ups. It's really showing how good these guys are. But yeah, really impressed so far. Next up, we had Asuka versus Mandy Rose. This was actually quite nice to see Asuka. She hadn't been on TV for a couple of weeks now, and to be honest, she got a very good little promo talking about that she doesn't really care about the Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch feud, what she's going on Raw, because she was asked about that. She just went, "I don't care. I beat Charlotte, beat Becky, and I even made Becky Lynch tap out." So for me, that's over and done with. I'm looking for a new challenge. Out came Mandy Rose. She got a fantastic little promo herself saying that she is ready for Asuka. They had a really great match as well. Mandy really controlled the pace of the match, which was nice to see. She has come on leaps and bounds as a wrestler in the last few months. I think it was back when she teamed up with The Miz in that one-off match. She really has just got better and better. And let's be honest, she's probably the most televised female superstar on the SmackDown roster right now as we're talking about, because she had that bit of a feud with Naomi, which was terrible, don't get me wrong, it was worse. But Mandy Rose came out looking good in that. And let's be honest, with both Charlotte and Becky Lynch, two of the biggest names from SmackDown, focusing on Raw, it allows someone like Mandy Rose an opportunity to shine, and she shined really well in this match. She controlled the tempo of the match. Lacey Evans came out, which again, I do not understand what they're trying to do with Lacey Evans. She came out, she got told to go back by Sonya Deville. Mandy used the distraction, and then she controlled, again, majority of that match. Asuka started getting more and more momentum. Asuka did the knee to the face. Mandy played the injured eye bit. The referee was a bit concerned. Mandy used that again to get an advantage over Asuka, and she got the pinfall victory over Asuka. I think this is interesting. I think this is the right opponent. I think Mandy Rose should go for the SmackDown Women's title at Fastlane. Do I think she should be challenging at WrestleMania? Most likely not. I think someone like Nikki Cross would pop. For me personally, I think she has the best chemistry with Asuka. And WrestleMania, you should get the best matches possible. Don't get me wrong, Mandy Rose has come leaps and bounds. It really shows in this. She's definitely become the biggest heel on SmackDown Live for the women's division, because let's be honest, Charlotte and Becky are more concentrated on Raw than they are on SmackDown, so I can say that. So I'm going to give this match a 3 out of 5 because, again, Asuka, it was great to see Asuka. A great new feud to look at. Mandy Rose has just been absolutely fantastic, especially her Elimination Chamber match she had on Sunday. So I think I'm just really happy to see a new feud coming out of this. So yeah, a 3 out of 5. Really excited to see how they go at Fastlane. Next up, we had Ricochet versus Eric Young. That's right, Sanity were on TV this week as well. What a week we've had with superstars who haven't been on TV much actually getting time to shine on TV. And yeah, it was a really good match. I never seen Ricochet versus Eric Young before. I know apparently they had a house show match once, but that was about it. But this was a decent showing for Ricochet. Again, Ricochet is just a highlight reel in WWE. And like a lot of people stated, if Ricochet can stay at this level and not get any injuries or anything like that, he's going to be up in the main event scene so soon, as long as he gets a great call up and he has this great opponents to take on. Because let's be honest, these are all debut matches for both Raw and SmackDown, and he's impressed. He had a great showing 24 hours ago with Finn Balor, and now he had a great showing with Eric Young. Eric Young, for me as well, did a fantastic job. I think a lot of people were disappointed because Eric Young and Sanity haven't had a lot of opportunities. They've been very vocal on social media, which WWE even talked about on the show. They said, look, Eric Young and Sanity have been very vocal online about their opportunities on SmackDown Live. And I think Eric Young showed exactly what he can do in the ring. He's a great competitor. I really think him and Sanity should have more opportunities on SmackDown Live. But it was a good showing from them as well. Ricochet obviously looked like the big star in this, and that's what you want to do, especially for someone like Ricochet. But I can't continue not saying how good Eric Young was in the match. So for me, I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5 again. Everyone came out of the match looking good, but I just want more Sanity on my TV. I know it sounds weird. I just want to see him on TV more often. So yeah, last but not least, it moves us on to our main event of the show, and this was a 6-man tag team match, and it was the babyface team of AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy and Kofi Kingston taking on the heel team of Samoa Joe, Randy Orton and the new Daniel Bryan. Again, this was quite cool. There was not a lot of time left. You could tell SmackDown Live was very much packed this week because the main event just didn't have a lot of time for itself. But what they managed to do in I think it was less than 10 minutes, they did really well. You had Daniel Bryan cut a heelish promo stating, look, I beat all of you guys, so none of you are going to get a title opportunity at Fastlane, which really got the crowd really annoyed. Kofi Mania was everywhere. Everyone was chanting for Kofi Kingston. It's great to see Kofi getting that much love. Kofi, the New Day did a quick interview before they went out as well, and they were just cheered throughout it all. They were talking about how long Kofi's been in the company, and now it's his time to shine, which was awesome to see. It was just a really good match. Samoa Joe looked great. He looked very dominant. Jeff Hardy looked fantastic. AJ Styles, it was that hot tag to AJ, which really worked. Kofi worked quite a bit of a match as well. Randy Orton, there was a great bit in the match where you had Kofi knocked down Randy Orton, and it was like an homage to the Randy Orton Kofi Kingston feud where Kofi's just shouting stupid, 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 just like Randy Orton did when he and Kofi were feuding for the WWE title a few years back. That was awesome to see. Kofi did get the pinfall over Daniel Bryan, which was absolutely brilliant. The whole crowd went mental when Kofi got the pinfall, and everyone's celebrating. Daniel Bryan and all the heels are on the ringside. Shane O'Mac comes out and he makes a huge announcement that at Fastlane, Kofi Kingston will be taking on Daniel Bryan for the WWE title. Really good match, only very short match, but very good. It did exactly what it needed to do. So for me personally, I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5. Fantastic main event. And there you go, guys, that was SmackDown Live for this week. What do I think? I thought it was an absolutely packed show. I think everyone did a fantastic job. There was no part of the show I did not enjoy. The opening to the end was just perfect for me. So I'm going to give this week's episode of SmackDown Live a 3.5 out of 5. What was your favourite part about SmackDown Live, guys? Leave it in the comments below. If you do like our videos, don't forget to like, subscribe and press the bell to keep notified. If you want to follow us on the old Twitter, it's at SmackTalkYouTube. And if you want to follow me on the old Twitter, it's at Boise88. And I'll see you guys next time on Smack Talk Wrestling Reviews.